Hey guys, welcome to Floater. Today I just wanted to summarize a great talk that was done by Kyle Simmons out of the Laureate Institute for Brain Research, also known as LIBOR. It was done in the 2015 Float Conference. If you haven't checked out any of the videos from floatconference.com, I highly recommend it. Those guys in Oregon are definitely killing the game right now. Kyle's talk was really great. It was discussing people with emotional and mood and anxiety disorders, linking that to a person's ability to process interoceptive processes. So interoceptive processes would include things like heart rate, stomach extension, bladder extension. It's essentially a person's ability to be aware of its internal processes. And this is really just rooted in the thought that, the old and new thought that emotional disorders or the physiological state is at the center of a lot of emotional disorders, that whole mind-body connection. So, and recently it's been found that a region of the brain called the insula is responsible for processing these visceral internal awareness of these, what's going on inside your body. So Kyle discussed 3 studies. One study was just basically how to measure a person's ability to process these interoceptive feedback. So basically, inside of an MRI, they gave subjects the word stomach, and they would focus on their stomach and they would measure the region of the brain. And then as a control group, they gave something outside of the body, a word outside of the body, say target, I think it was. And they switched it from uppercase to lowercase and measure the region of their brain of processing that external information. So what was found from that study was that the interoceptive information was being processed by the mid-posterior insula. Okay. The next study he talked about was performing that same test, which was called the visceral interoceptive attention task. Performing that on people who suffered from major depressive disorder, MDD. Now these people, they suffer from a long-term mood disorder. They don't look for pleasure. They also feel physical symptoms such as fatigue, headache, sensitivity to pain. So they did a study with 20 people who suffer from this disease and 20 people who were healthy. And essentially what they found was that there was a lack of activity in this mid-posterior insula. So they did another study, one with a float group, so people who floated for an extended period of time, and people who sat in a zero gravity chair. And what was found was that people who floated showed a significant increase in activity in this region of the brain, the mid-posterior insula. So what's going on now at LIBOR, they're doing randomized studies to basically connect these dots. So we have a pretty good idea of what region is responsible for interoceptive processes. We know that people who suffer from mood and anxiety disorders have a dysfunction in this region of the brain. We know that floating increases the activity in this region of the brain. So what we know right now is floating may be really beneficial for people who suffer from these mood and anxiety disorders. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time to say something officially like that. So a lot of study. So the guys at Liber are doing that, and it's really going to change the game, change the floating game. So I'm excited to hear what those guys come up with, and more studies done by them. So again, check out Liber, check out the Float Conference. All right, Floater out.